9. Success requires sacrifices. Remember when I talked about responsibility? Well, success is very similar. Everyone wants it, dreams of it, idealizes it, but few are willing to give what it takes to achieve it. We all want the reward, of course. Who doesn't want recognition, wealth, maybe even fame? But paying the price, that's a different story, isn't it? And here's the hard truth. Success always requires sacrifices. Think about it for a moment. Success doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the result of tough decisions. Have you ever seen an iceberg? What your eyes can see is only the tip, but beneath the water is a much larger mass of ice that remains hidden. Success is the same. It's giving up hours of sleep to work on your goal. It's saying no to outings or distractions that don't bring you closer to what you want. It's accepting the moments of exhaustion, doubt, and frustration. It's waking up early when no one else is watching and continuing to work when others have already given up. It's sacrificing comfort and ease for something far greater, something that truly matters. Success, as the Stoics taught us, is not something that comes passively. Epictetus reminded us, "Nothing great is achieved without effort, and the greater the goal, the higher the price you must pay." This teaching captures the essence of sacrifice. If you're striving for something meaningful, you have to be willing to give up what holds you back, what distracts you, and what adds no value to your goal. Think of it this way. Success is like forging a sword. To create something strong and enduring, you first need to endure the fire. That heat, that constant hammering. Those are the sacrifices. Without them, what you create is fragile, unable to withstand the challenges ahead. Now tell me, are you willing to endure the fire to achieve what you truly want? If you're ready to accept this truth, here's what you can do. First, define what truly matters to you. You can't reach great goals if your energy is scattered on things that don't align with them. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to or farther from what I want? Second, make a plan and stick to it. Consistency is the bridge between sacrifice and success. And third, every time the sacrifices feel too overwhelming, remind yourself why you started and where you want to go. Success isn't handed out, it's earned. And while the road may be full of sacrifices, it's also full of satisfaction. The Stoics teach us that true happiness comes from living a life of purpose and effort, not from avoiding challenges. So the next time you wonder if it's worth it, think about the sword you're forging. Every strike counts. Are you ready to begin? 10. Make failure your friend. What if I told you that failure isn't your enemy, but one of your greatest allies? I know it sounds strange, maybe even absurd. Who wants to fail, right? We're all chasing our goals like crazy, so why would failure be my friend? Here's a truth you need to hear. Without failure, there's no success. Don't see it as a roadblock that stops you, but as a teacher that guides you, showing you the lessons you need to grow. Let me tell you something. A few years ago, I started a project I was incredibly passionate about. I put all my energy into it. I made plans, designed strategies, and convinced myself that everything would go perfectly. But guess what happened? I failed. And not just a small failure. It was the kind that hits you hard, the kind that makes you question everything. I felt devastated, like all my effort had been for nothing. But after some time, I realized something. That failure was exactly what I needed. It showed me where I was going wrong, forced me to rethink my approach, and most importantly, it taught me resilience. How else was I supposed to learn what not to do if I hadn't tried in the first place? As Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison, who revolutionized the world, understood that every mistake wasn't an obstacle. It was another step toward success. His story reminds us that failure doesn't define who you are. It defines how willing you are to keep trying. And that, my friend, is what makes you great. Failure is like a tough coach. It tests you, pushes you beyond your limits, and while it might knock you down, it does so to help you rise stronger. If you stay down, wallowing in regret, you miss the chance to learn. But if you get up, analyze what went wrong, and try again. Every fall becomes an invaluable lesson. Now tell me, how many times have you held back from doing something because you were afraid to fail? How many opportunities have you let slip by because you thought the mistake would be too big? That fear doesn't just paralyze you, it robs you of the chance to discover everything you're capable of achieving. The Stoics taught us not to fear failure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, failure isn't the end, it's the only path to success. If you want to make failure your friend, start by seeing it as a tool, not as a punishment. After every stumble, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What will I do differently next time? These questions help you lose the fear of failure and transform it into a force that drives you forward instead of holding you back. And remember, every time you fail, you're one step closer to discovering what truly works. Failure isn't your enemy. It's proof that you're trying, that you're moving, that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone in pursuit of something greater. So the next time you face failure, don't reject it. Welcome it, because the more you make failure your ally, the closer you'll get to the life you want to build. 11. Escape the comfort zone. Do you know what the most dangerous place you can stay in is? Your comfort zone. Sounds ironic, doesn't it? After all, it's where you feel safe, where nothing puts you at risk. But here's the hard truth. As long as you stay in absolute comfort, nothing terrible may happen. But you also won't grow. It's cozy, sure, but it's like a ship anchored at the harbor. It's safe, but that's not what it was built for. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you wanted to try something new, but fear of change held you back? It's like a bird staying in its cage because it doesn't know what's outside. The cage is familiar and protective, but it also limits its chance to soar higher and explore new skies. What would become of a bird afraid to fly? A tragedy. And the same thing happens to you. As long as you stay in that safe space, not only will you stop moving forward, but you'll also start feeling trapped. A study by Yale University revealed something fascinating. People who regularly face situations outside their comfort zones experience significant increases in creativity, resilience, and personal satisfaction. In the experiment, participants were tasked with completely new and challenging activities, like learning a new language or solving complex problems under pressure. At first, many reported feeling uncomfortable and stressed, but over time, they discovered something surprising. The more they faced challenges, the more confident they became in their abilities, and the more they valued the process. The Stoics deeply understood this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul grows by expanding its limits." This teaching isn't just an invitation to overcome the fear of change. It's a reminder that growth happens when we push ourselves beyond comfort. Each time you face discomfort, you strengthen your character, break the invisible chains holding you back, and unlock parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Imagine for a moment that you're in a river. At the shore, the water is calm and safe, but it's also stagnant. If you move toward the center, the water gets faster, even a little dangerous. But that's where the current propels you forward, where you feel the movement, where you discover what it really means to flow with life. Your comfort zone is that calm shore, and as long as you stay there, you'll never feel the power of the current that can take you further. So, how do you break those invisible walls? Start small. You don't need to dive straight into the river, but you do need to take a step toward it. Do something that's always scared you, something that makes you a little uncomfortable. It could be as simple as signing up for a new class, speaking in public, or starting a difficult conversation. The trick isn't to eliminate fear, but to act despite it. Comfort is killing you slowly. It's like a warm shelter that, while cozy, keeps you from exploring the world. Leaving your comfort zone isn't easy, but it's necessary. Only by facing the unknown can you discover what you're truly made of. So, tell me, are you ready to take that first step and open the door? If your answer is yes, stay with me just a little longer, because now I'll share the ultimate truth you need to accept to move forward.